Most people think fear lives in the dark, in shadows, in things you can't see. But that's not where the worst fear lives. The worst fear lives in recognition. In the moment your brain says, I know what that is. And then, half a second later, no, that's not possible. It's the deer that stands on two legs. The child's voice, coming from something that isn't a child. The face in the window that looks exactly like yours. These 6 stories aren't about monsters. They're about the moment reality cracks. The moment your mind tries to reject what your eyes are seeing. The moment you realize the rules you thought governed the world don't apply out there. After midnight. Story 1. The camp that was already set up. Julia went camping alone in Washington State. 29. Graphic designer. The kind of person who plans everything. She hiked to a remote plateau, rarely visited, perfect for solitude. She arrived just before sunset. The clearing was beautiful. Then she saw it, a tent, already set up, fully erected. Guy lines tight, rain fly secured. But no one around. She called out, no response. She waited 20 minutes, no one returned. She decided to set up her own tent on the other side of the clearing. As she hammered in the last stake, she glanced at the blue tent. The zipper was open, just a 6-inch gap. It had been closed before. She was certain. She called out again. Nothing. She walked over, flashlight ready, looked inside, empty, completely empty. No sleeping bag, no gear, just bare ground. Relief flooded through her. Someone had abandoned it. She went back to her tent, crawled inside, fell asleep. Then she woke. No dream, no reason, just sudden awareness. She heard fabric rustling from the blue tent, like someone moving inside a sleeping bag, then a zipper opening, slowly, footsteps approaching her tent. They stopped right outside. She heard breathing. Calm. Even. Then the voice. Thank you for coming. Female, polite, like a host greeting a guest. I've been waiting. Julia didn't move, didn't breathe. The footsteps walked away. Back to the blue tent. The zipper closed. She didn't sleep. When morning came, the blue tent was gone, not collapsed, not packed. Gone. Just flattened grass where it had been. But when she checked her pack at the trailhead, she found something on a tent stake. Blue aluminum, with dried grass still stuck to the tip. Julia never went back. But late at night, she thinks about those words. I've been waiting. Waiting for what? Some places don't need monsters. They just need patience. And in our next story, a father learned that some things in the forest wait through generations. Story 2, My Father's Campsite. David took his 8-year-old son Mason camping in Vermont. He wanted to find the campsite his father had loved, off the main trail near a stream. He hadn't been there in 20 years, but he found it. The same clearing, the same fire ring, moss-covered but unmistakable. This is where Grandpa used to bring me, he told Mason. They set up camp, built a fire, roasted hot dogs. It felt perfect. That night, Mason woke him. There's someone outside? David listened, heard voices from the stream, muffled conversation. Then Mason asked, Dad, did Grandpa die out here? David's blood went cold. Nobody. He died at home. But David's mind raced because his father hadn't died at home. He died. He couldn't remember clearly anymore. Then, from outside, David, his father's voice. David grabbed his flashlight, stepped out. A figure stood by the stream, tall, still. For 1 second, he saw his father's face, the beard, the flannel, the glasses, exactly as he remembered. Then the light shifted. The face was too smooth, too blank, like a mask made from memory. "You brought the boy," it said in his father's voice. David grabbed Mason. "We're leaving, now!" They ran, no packs, no gear, just ran. At sunrise, David called the ranger station. "There's no campsite in that area," the ranger said. "We closed it 30 years ago, after the disappearances." David described his father. The ranger went quiet. "Sir, your father's name is in our files. He disappeared in 1985 during a solo camping trip. We found his camp, never found him." David remembered the funeral when he was 12. Closed casket, his mother saying, "Your father is gone. Not dead. Gone." He'd always thought it was just her way of coping. David never told Mason the truth. How do you tell your son that the grandfather he never met might still be out there, waiting in the woods, wearing a face that's almost right? David hasn't camped since. And sometimes he wonders, was that his father? Or something that learned to wear his face? Some things don't die. They change. They wait. And sometimes they don't just use voices, they use faces. Which brings us to our next story. Story 3. The Hiker Who Looked Like Me. Emma and her girlfriend Claire were backpacking in Oregon. Day 2, they started seeing other hikers on the trail. Then Emma saw a woman ahead, wearing a green jacket, dark hair and a ponytail. Emma slowed. "That's my jacket." Claire looked. Same height, same build, same hair. From behind, she looked exactly like Emma. Emma called out. The woman didn't turn. They walked faster, trying to catch up. The woman rounded a bend. When they reached it, the trail was empty. Dense forest on both sides. Nowhere to go. Where did she go? 10 minutes later, at a trail junction, they found a water bottle leaning against the signpost. Emma's water bottle, same brand, same color, but Emma's bottle was in her pack, 2 identical bottles. "We need to go back to camp," Claire said. "Now." Back at camp, their tent was open. They'd zipped it closed. Inside, on Emma's sleeping bag, a Polaroid photo, faded, like it was old. It showed their campsite. A woman in a green jacket, standing with her back to the camera. Pinned to the photo was a note, in handwriting that looked exactly like Emma's. "I've been waiting to meet you." They packed immediately, left. 2 hours later, safe in a motel, Emma stared at the photo. The figure was standing wrong, posture too stiff, proportions slightly off, like someone had studied how Emma stood and gotten it almost right. Almost. A week later, Emma found another photo slipped into her apartment mail, her building, the figure outside, facing the camera this time. But the face was blurred. Like it had moved, or like the camera refused to capture it clearly. Emma moved apartments, changed her number, deleted social media. The photos stopped. But sometimes, late at night, she looks out her window and she wonders if somewhere out there, something is still wearing her face, still practicing her walk, still learning to be her, waiting for the moment it gets it right. Emma doesn't hike anymore. Claire moved away. They don't talk about it. Because some encounters don't end, they just pause. And in our next story, you'll meet someone who discovered that the forest doesn't just copy us, sometimes it improves us. Story 4. The Perfect Child. Marcus and Angela took their 5-year-old daughter Lily camping. Family campground, bathrooms, playground, safe. After dinner, Lily asked to go to the bathroom. "Take your flashlight," Angela said. 5 minutes passed. 10. Marcus went to check. She wasn't there. They searched. Found her at the edge of the campground, standing alone, perfectly still. I got lost, she said. Her voice was flat. Angela knelt down. Baby, are you okay? I'm fine, Mommy. Angela frowned. You don't call me Mommy, you call me Mama. Lily blinked. Oh, sorry, Mama. That night, Lily slept soundly, too soundly. In the morning, she was different, better at sharing, more polite. She said please and thank you, without being reminded. She didn't whine, didn't complain. Marcus and Angela exchanged looks. Over the next week, Lily got more perfect, never fought, never cried, did chores without being asked, ate everything on her plate, but it felt hollow, like she was performing. Then one night, Marcus heard her talking in her room. He opened the door. She was sitting up in bed. I'm supposed to say this now. Good night, I love you. Marcus froze. Lily? She turned. Her face was blank. Did I do it right? Do what right? Being her. Marcus's world tilted. Where's my daughter? The thing in Lily's bed smiled. She's still here, sleeping. She taught me so much. I just want to be as good as her. Don't you want me to be good? Then Lily collapsed. When she woke, she was confused, scared. I had a bad dream. That was Lily, his Lily. The EMTs came, checked her. Everything normal. Night terror, they said. But Lily didn't remember the camping trip. Not the lake. Not getting lost. Nothing, like she hadn't been there. Or like someone else had been there instead. Lily is 12 now, perfectly normal. But sometimes Angela watches her and feels a flicker of doubt. Was that laugh exactly right? Was that reaction perfectly timed? Most of the time. She's fine. Most of the time. What takes us isn't always obvious. Sometimes it's not our bodies. It's something smaller. In the next story, a man learned that some absences are louder than any presence. Story 5. The silence between words. Tom and Jake were best friends, 20 years, countless camping trips together. They had a rhythm. Tom drove, Jake navigated, Jake cooked, Tom cleaned. Montana wilderness, 5 days. The first 2 days were perfect. On the third night, Tom woke to use the bathroom. Jake was awake. Do you ever think about what happens after? Jake asked. After what? After we die. Tom frowned. That's heavy for 2 a.m., man. I've just been thinking. I don't know, I hope there's something. You? Jake was quiet for a long time. I hope there's nothing. The coldness in his voice made Tom's skin crawl. Next morning, Jake sat by the fire, staring at nothing. What do you want to do today? Tom asked. Jake thought too long. What do people do? Tom laughed uncomfortably. What do you mean? What do people do on camping trips? Jake, you've been camping 100 times. Are you messing with me? Jake looked confused. No, I'm just asking. Are you feeling sick? I don't know. What do you mean you don't know? I mean, I don't know if this is what sick feels like. Tom stood up. Okay, we're leaving. Jake agreed too easily. Okay. On the trail out, Jake walked differently. Not wrong exactly, just mechanical. At one point, Jake stopped and looked at his hands. These are hands, he said slowly, turning them over. Tom's blood ran cold. Jake, what the hell is going on? Jake looked at him. His eyes were distant. I don't know how to explain. It's like I'm watching someone else use this body and I'm learning how. Tom grabbed Jake's shoulder. You're scaring me. I'm scared too, Jake said. But his voice was flat, empty. They reached the car. Tom drove. Jake sat quietly, looking out the window like he'd never seen trees before. After an hour, Jake spoke. "Tom, I need to tell you something." "What?" "I don't think I'm Jake anymore." Tom's hands tightened on the wheel. "What are you talking about?" "I have his memories. I know his life, his favorite movie, his ex-girlfriend's name, the scar on his knee from when he was 7. But it feels like I'm reading a book about him, not living it." Silence filled the car. "Who are you then?" Tom whispered. Jake, or whatever was using Jake's body, turned to look at him. "I don't know yet, but I'm learning." Tom pulled over, got out, called 911. Jake was taken to a hospital. They ran tests, brain scans, blood work, everything normal. Psychological evaluation suggested dissociative episode. Trauma response. Derealization. Jake stayed 3 days. By the time he was released, he seemed better, more Jake-like. He laughed at the right times, used the right phrases, remembered their inside jokes. But Tom noticed small things. The way Jake held his fork. Slightly different angle. The way he laughed. Half a second delayed. The way he paused before saying Tom's name. Like he had to remember it. They don't camp together anymore. They don't talk much. Because Tom can't shake the feeling that his best friend didn't come back from those woods. Something else did, something wearing Jake's face. Using Jake's memories. Speaking with Jake's voice. Something that's still learning how to be human and getting better at it every day. Tom sees Jake sometimes, at a distance, in grocery stores, at gas stations, and each time Jake seems more right, more himself, which somehow makes it worse. Because if something can learn to be Jake perfectly, how do you know when it succeeds? How do you know if the person you're talking to is really them? In our final story, we meet someone who discovered that the worst encounters aren't the ones that end. They're the ones that follow you home. Story 6. It followed me home. The trip itself was uneventful. Sarah went camping with 2 friends in North Carolina. 3 days, no storms, no injuries, no strange noises at night. They camped, hiked, took photos, laughed. When it was time to leave, they felt that bittersweet feeling of returning to normal life. They packed up, loaded the car, drove out at the edge of the forest where the dirt road met pavement. They saw a figure standing by the road. Tall, still, no flashlight, no car nearby. Sarah was driving. She slowed instinctively. "Do we stop?" her friend asked. Sarah shook her head. They passed the figure. As they did, her friend in the passenger seat turned to look. The figure's head was tilted down, like it wasn't watching them, like it didn't need to. They drove on. Miles later, her friend said quietly, "Did anyone else see that in the mirror?" Sarah glanced at the rear view. At first, nothing, just road. Then something moved. A shape, far behind, in the center of the lane, running, too fast. It wasn't like a person sprinting, not the bobbing rhythm of human legs. It was smooth, like a shadow being pulled forward. Sarah sped up. The shape stayed in the mirror for a moment, keeping pace in a way that didn't make sense. Then it dropped back, vanished. Nervous laughter filled the car. "Probably someone messing with us," someone said. Nobody sounded convinced. They reached home, unloaded gear, promised to plan another trip soon. Life resumed. Weeks passed. Then Sarah started hearing footsteps outside her house at night. Not neighbors, not cars. Footsteps, slow, deliberate. She told herself it was animals, but animals don't walk with that rhythm. One night, she woke to the sound right outside her bedroom window. The footsteps stopped. Silence. Then, softly, from outside, Sarah. Her name, her full name, spoken clearly, calmly. She didn't move, didn't breathe. Morning came, she checked outside. No tracks, no disturbed grass, nothing. But on the lower edge of her window, in the dust, a handprint. She wiped it away. The footsteps returned the next week, and the week after, always after midnight, always stopping at her window. Sometimes she'd hear her name, sometimes just breathing. She moved apartments. The footsteps followed. She moved cities. 3 months of silence, then one night, she woke to a sound. Her front door handle, turning slowly. She'd locked it. Deadbolt, chain. The handle turned, released, turned again. Like something was learning how locks worked. She called the police. They came. Found nothing, no fingerprints, no signs of tampering. They suggested she install cameras. She did. A week later, she checked the footage from the night before. 2:47 a.m., a figure standing at her door, tall, perfectly still. 3:12 a.m., still standing there. 4:30 a.m., gone. But here's what made her stop breathing. At 4:29 a.m., the figure turned its head, looked directly at the camera, and smiled. Not a human smile, too wide. Too many teeth. Like something that had learned what smiling was, but didn't understand why humans do it. Sarah doesn't live alone anymore. She doesn't sleep with the lights off, and she doesn't go camping. But sometimes, late at night, she hears it. The slow footsteps outside, the handle turning, her name, spoken in a voice that sounds almost right. And she knows. It's still out there. Still learning, still waiting, still trying to figure out how to get inside. The woods don't feel dangerous in daylight. They feel old, quiet, empty. But after midnight, the forest doesn't just surround you, it watches. Every story you heard tonight started the same way. A campfire, a tent, and the belief that nothing out there was paying attention. So ask yourself this. If the forest went silent around you, if something in the dark said your name, would you trust your instincts? Or would you convince yourself it was nothing until it was too late? If you've ever experienced something strange in the woods, something that made you leave early or never go back, you're not alone. The forest remembers who steps inside it. And sometimes it doesn't let them leave, not completely,